So I'm about to dive into the cabinet under my kitchen sink to fix yet another broken home appliance. This time it's our instant hot water heater, which I admit is a bit of a luxury, but we love it. I mean, my wife uses it to make tea, and I use it to heat up knives and cut butter and sterilize things. You wind up finding all kinds of crazy uses when you have on-demand, whatever it is, 175-degree Fahrenheit water. But what happened with our system here is that the hose, which looks like this, that carries hot water from the tank up to the faucet ruptured or got poked. We don't actually know what happened. So every time you turn the faucet on, it would spray water all over, not spray, but dribble water all over underneath the cabinet. And that's kind of the advantage of the way this thing is set up, because when you open the faucet on the cabinet, it just deals with the cold water. It puts cold water in the tank, and that forces hot water up through this rubber tube to come out the spigot, and that means that the scalding hot water isn't under any great pressure and isn't going to go anywhere, particularly unless your pipe ruptures and it'll dribble all over the place. So I need to replace that, and I'm not going to go into any detail about how to fix it. You just take the old one off once you can get to it, and believe me, under here, this is an incredible mess that's got to take all this stuff out. In fact, I have to drop the garbage disposal to get to the thing. But once you can get to the tank and to the faucet, then you just remove these clamps, put the new hose on. But the question is, how do you get the new hose? And I'm going to look at my notes here, but my first thought was I'll just go order some silicone hose off of Amazon, and quickly realized you don't want to do that, the clear stuff or the white stuff, because it just can't take the thermal cycling of being heated up by hot water and then cooled off for very long. This sort of magic hose that came with it supposedly is, I'm looking at, I have notes this time, let's see, it was like 30 times. This kind of hose lasts 30 times longer than regular silicone when you're thermal cycling it. So let me go through some of the details of what here. Up on the top of the cabinet, we have a Westbrass D271-NL-26 Velosah 9-inch one-handle dispenser, and of course you have to buy the water heater tank separately, and that's a Waste King AH780 UL, and we have really hard water here. So the first one we put in 2011, it lasted, like 7 years. And we just put one in 2019, and now this hose is broken. Anyway, so I started looking for the hose, and if you look at the markings on this, it has a food safety mark on it, the NSF mark, and says it's good for up to 275 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature, which is, maybe 100 degrees above what the water temperature is, and it's quite flexible. And I started looking around and I said, well, it looks like the only thing I could find that looked the same was something called BPT tube, which is what biologically pure tubing. But it's not biologically pure tubing. And that's a good thing, because as I started looking at biologically pure tubing, that stuff is used in medical applications, in kidney dialysis, in moving chemicals, and all this stuff where you want it to be really inert. And little 10-foot hunks of that stuff, which looks identical to this, they're close, were costing like $100 for 10 feet, and you could get kind of cheap knockoff of that BPT from China, or you could also get it from some fancy company in France. And I said, gee, they couldn't have been shipping with that. So then I looked at the manual for the faucet a little more closely, and realized that they had identified it as Santoprene hose. And with that brand name, then I realized that it's not actually BPT, biologically pure medical grade magic tubing. It's actually a TPV hose, which stands for thermoplastic vulcanates, which is a dynamically vulcanized polymer alloy composed of cured EPDM, ethylene propylene diene monomer. So it's a cured monomer, and this stuff can be autoclaved repeatedly and handle a ton of thermal cycles, and it's way cheaper than biologically pure tubing, but it still is NSF certified, food safety 61 and 51 certified. So this is the stuff they shipped with, and this is much cheaper. And you can order it right from the Santoprene website, but it's more expensive. I got this from Freshwater Systems, and it's 10 feet, and it was 13 bucks all in, tax and shipping. So this costs nothing. It's way more than I need. I need like 3 feet, so I don't know what we'll do with the extra. And just to dot my I's and cross my T's here, I'll tell you that the interior diameter of this is listed as you'll see it on websites, it's 5/16 or 7.9 millimeters. The outer diameter is 7/16 or 10.3 to 11.1 millimeters. And the wall's about 1/16 of an inch or 1.5 millimeters. That's all I wanted to do for this video. I'm just going to tear everything out of this cabinet and take out the garbage disposal and rewire this thing and tighten the faucet up because it jiggles. And then my wife will be happy again and we'll have instant hot water. But wait, maybe installation is not as easy as we'd like because the hose goes up inside this threaded tube, and this seems to be a solid unit. It's made from 2 pieces. They're press fit, it looks like. I can't like unscrew this top. Which would have made me sad if I could have just gotten to this from the top. So I guess I'm going to try to unscrew these threads. The other problem getting this out was that these metal lines go into these quick connect plastic fittings, and you got to press in with a screwdriver on the innermost ring to release them. And one end has a cap on it you have to pry off before you can press in the innermost ring. So that's another thing. But anyway, so hopefully we can get this threaded thing out. It does seem like it turns a little bit here. Maybe I can just do it by hand. Let's see. Boy, no, man. Well, I may be thwarted here. See, it is attached to this thing. They're both, the thread and the topper are going together. Can I unscrew this? Well, let's put a clamper on it and see what we can do. Aha! Looks like if you keep turning this, it'll back the whole thread out. Ah, there we go. Just a little bit and then it comes out. Now, can we get to it? I can see the hose in here through these holes. Yeah, it's a puzzlement. I wonder if someone's made a YouTube video on how to get this apart, because it really seems to be like one piece of machine brass for sure. The only join seems to be here. Like maybe you could unscrew that. I pried these O-rings up with a jeweler screw and looked underneath them. There's no kind of release. I should point out that this isn't even threaded, so once this is loose, you can just kind of pull this straight out. I can stick this in a vise. Yeah, this is kind of unbelievable. It's not giving at all. I'm rocking and pulling up, but it's not, no joy here. And now I've kind of chewed that brass up a little bit. I mean, I'm getting more extreme because I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking I'm just going to have to buy a new one to change the damn hose. That went beside the hose. You can go all the way through. So putting the screwdriver through, it gave me some leverage here, and now the spigot and the brass fitting are moving independently, but it doesn't seem like it's going to unscrew. I don't know what else to do here, but keep turning it up. Oh my goodness, look at this. What a pain. It is threaded. So there you go. Hope we got that on camera okay. Yay. Well, it still goes way up there. Oh, maybe we come out this end. Maybe this is the secret. Oh, I'm going to be so sad if it's on this little plastic fitting right here. Oh, it is. Oh my God. What an idiot. What an idiot. So don't do what I did. You can replace the whole thing by prying this out and pulling the hose out through this end. Duh. Yeah, so in a perfect world, you can replace this hose from the top without even removing the faucet by just prying this out and sliding a new darn hose down here. Whether it actually would slide all the way through, I don't know. But that's crazy. Since I've disassembled it now, I can guide it each step of the way. Dum 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 dum. My new hose seems to have a little thicker wall, but it's gonna do it. My wall is thicker, so it is tighter, so I probably couldn't have just slid it down. I thought I was ordering exactly the same. I thought I was very, very close, but yeah, a little silicone spray lubricant would probably go a long way here. All right, I'll spare you reassembling this, also because it slows me down to film it, and but now we know the secret. It's about an hour and a half later, everything's put together. The base of the faucet is really secure now on the counter, so it was worth taking it apart just to do that, because it's been loose for ages and bothering us. True confession, I realized when I went to put it back together after I turned the camera off that I needed to screw the threaded part and the spigot part back together, and that meant I had to take the hose back out to put the Phillips screwdriver through it so I could use that as a handle to tighten it. And then once I did that, I had the darndest time trying to get the new hose back in a second time. In fact, I wound up spraying silicone spray in there and then punching a hole through the end of the tube and running bare wire through it and using that like a fish tape to pull it through the faucet, was just ridiculous. It's funny because when I look at the wall thickness of the new hose and the old hose, they're almost identical. Just the new hose is just a little bit stiffer, and I guess that makes all the difference. I thought this would be an exact replacement, and it's very, very close, but it's not. Anyway, it's working again. I'm sure my wife will be happy to make her tea, and I'm happy to heat up knives and melt butter and all that stuff. Like all plumbing projects, DIY, it's, you know, a miserable pain in the butt, but it's done now. Anyway, so thanks for watching this video that was a little longer than I thought it was going to be. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.